chat. All right, let's see. Is Twitch up and running? Twitch is up and running. Is YouTube up and running? YouTube, you can do it. YouTube. All right. Stage 1 up and running. And stage 2 up and running. Sweet. Welcome to Puzzle Hangout number 71. Let's see if both chats are working. Yes, they do. Excellent. All right. So today I'm going to look into why the script didn't run. Update because I'm sitting. While we're creating a puzzle thumbnail API. Thumbnail API/service. And to do that, we need to do a couple of things. We need to be able to generate thumbnails, ideally server-side, or have an easy way of uploading them. And then we need to be able to, we need to map puzzles to thumbnails. We need to be able to cache them. We need to resolve those cached puzzles, find those thumbnails quickly from the cache. So some sort of hash function, something like that. And hey, Tristan. So there's a couple of things there. Excited. All right. So let me think. One of the biggest issues right now is that we need a lot of web browser support to run the thumbnails. We're relying on the game engine quite heavily. And I can probably remove a lot of that relatively easily, but only if I kind of have a separate code base for that, which I don't want to. So, and refactoring that back into the existing engine, that's what's going to be a bit harder. But there might be another way. So there are server-side canvases for Node. So Node SVG canvas. So there are ways of doing SVG on the server side. So that's my first, and DOM and browser simulation, all that stuff. So that's going to be my first sort of try. Can I do this stuff? And I think, yeah, we probably don't want to run the full DOM. We just want to run the part that generates the puzzles. Now we have done this. We have thumbnails in SudokuPad, the mobile app, so we can generate those puzzles. But that is still using a full browser engine, right? I am wondering if I should actually start with a separate service instead of trying to hack that into the engine itself, just to avoid accidentally making some sort of cross connection there. And I've recently started, some prototyping of what a puzzle listing might look like. And I believe for that I have some code, like a minimal sort of setup for generating thumbnails. So let's have a quick peek at that. Not that. This is in SudokuPad.app. And what did we call it? Puzzle listing, HTML. And do I have a separate run for this? Test listing. Let's see if that does something. So that's on 1990. 1990. Yeah, that's basically the idea. So I know there's basically somebody contacted me who is working on a service, and basically we talked about how to not duplicate too much effort, because I want to do all the things, but I can't. I'm just one guy. So and rendering grids is something a lot of people need to do, and it's actually quite a bit of work. So maybe that's something I can provide as a service. And the way I see it is that there's only a relatively limited number of puzzles out there, right? So for example, I've recently pulled puzzles off Logic Master Germany, and there was only about 8,000. And there's only about 3,000 or 4,000 of CTC puzzles, right? So I don't know, 20, 30,000 puzzles, unique puzzles that are out there. Now, add a whole bunch when people are testing, as puzzles are changing while they're setting. But if I cache them, that's only a relatively small amount of data, and I could actually host these as images. So if I can cache these images, even if those puzzles take a while to generate, is actually not necessarily a huge problem. Yeah, so and the idea would be that it has an API, and I will probably cache the SVG and the PNG version. And initially it'll be a bit crafty because the way that the PNGs are, the SVGs are generated right now is a bit nasty because I'm just stuffing a whole bunch of CSS in there to make them look right. But in reality, most of that isn't required. I just have to clean that all up. So this is also a bit of an opportunity for me to clean up my own code and improve on that. But for now, let's have a quick look. I've set this up, pack listing, HTML, pack listing JS, and this is supposed to generate thumbnails. Rules parser is not defined. Thumbnail, no, rules parser is not defined. 187. Okay, let's figure out why this is currently broken. Thumbnail 17. Thumbnailer needs the rules parser, and the rules part. Wait a second. Why does the thumbnail needs the rules parser? Oh, that's actually a recent addition. So yeah, these are all the dependencies and all that. And that's something, for example, we obviously shouldn't need a rules parser to render the image. So these are all the kind of dependencies I actually want to get rid of. All right, so, but for now, I just want to get it to work. Yeah, it's Daniel. Yeah, this is basically for Daniel. You got it. For now. I mean, obviously for everybody, but Daniel is the first customer of this. Rules parser. Bring that over here. And rules parser. Aha. All right. So that got rendered. And these aren't getting rendered. Why not? All right. So SVG canvas. The question for me is right now is how far can I go before I need the HTML DOM in my engine, right? And maybe kind of writing this all out, what actually happens might be super useful. So let's see. Script.js comes from, okay, so we're just pulling that in from the other side. All right. Public staging, Script.js. All right. Script.js. The ball and chain around my neck, really. Let's be honest. So, when we're loading a puzzle, and right now to generate a thumbnail, we're literally just loading a puzzle. Actually, thumbnailer, what do we do to load the puzzle? That's where we should start, right? So, puzzle, PNG, CTC puzzle, puzzle to CTC, this puzzle to engineer. Okay. Puzzle to SVG. Puzzle SVG. Puzzle to SVG. CTC puzzle. So what happens? So we're running convert puzzle. Okay, so convert puzzle is so at this point we have generated CTC puzzle data. So we convert to CTC puzzle. Presumably from fpuzzle data. From fpuzzle, from CTC/SDF and fpuzzle data. So that's the first step. 2. So app.convert puzzle, and that basically extracts. It does two things, right? It extracts certain kinds of data. So it basically does a second round of conversion. But I think it might also already be, yeah, it's already starting to render SVGs, SVG stuff. So the question is, how much of this is dependent on other things in the application, and how much of this is independent? Basically, before we get, because then after convert puzzle, and we should probably have that separately here. So we said we had, we're actually running convert puzzle, and then we run load puzzle. And load puzzle sets up digits and stuff like that. To puzzle.load puzzle. And then I think from the thumbnail perspective, that's more or less it. And then deserialize state if we want to optionally if we wanna have a thumbnail with state. But that's probably something. Ideally, we would be able to generate the SVG on the server and then modify it on the client, like add the state in there with a smaller piece of code somehow, maybe. I don't know. But that would be good actually, if I had like a small library that can render a replace data into it and all that sort of stuff. By the way, thanks for stopping by, Tristan. It's been lonely lately, so it's always nice to have some people hanging out. All right, so can we pull convert puzzle out? So the idea is, can I right now build something that doesn't have the entire bloody engine in it? It's gonna be a messy thing because SVG render is still inside script.js, right? So maybe we still load script.js, but we don't actually execute code from it, and we don't have the DOM hookups in it. I mean, there are some DOM hookups from SVG render, right? So we need a new base file, pack listing. So let's call this, and I'm gonna keep it in the same place for now because it's related activities. Thanks. Oh, see, he's streaming right now as well. I'm always clashing with everybody. Hey, Mark. I'm starting on a thumbnail server-side service thing. So that probably will result in me having to do some big chunky refactors in the core engine to pull some stuff out. So this is going to be a very rough, quick prototype pass to see if I can just pull stuff out willy-nilly and have them still work, such as the SVG renderer. Thumbgen.html. HTML. And we're gonna have most of this stuff in there. Not this stuff, this stuff. And we're also actually not gonna pull all the CSS in right away because there's a lot of CSS dependencies. So if I can actually clarify them a little bit more, that would be kind of helpful. So, we're just going to do something like this. Again. Oops. And if this works, we're gonna see what we can do. So I'm gonna be a bit cheeky, and first I'm gonna see if I can just rip things out. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna see if I can get the whole thing with DOM and stuff working in a browser emulator on the server side. All right, thumbgen, here we go. So thumbgen.js. Okay, so this code is running. So if we now bring in the SVG renderer here, just this whole thing, right? Boom. Stuff it in here. Big piece of code. Let's see what other dependencies that has. Okay. problem is obviously while I'm running this in a browser, I won't find out if it will run on Node, right? Yeah. So, constructor runs this on options. Okay. What if I do this? So I'm gonna make it more visible. What's happening? So we have options, and one of the options is the Svg element and get element. So we need an Svg element. So that's actually going to be our crux, right? It doesn't need an Svg element. We create a mock 2D canvas. Use the canvas context like you would a normal canvas, as you would call methods. We build a scene graph in Svg. That's not what I want. This is the opposite of what I want. This generates an Svg from canvas data, which is weird. Node Svg. I'm trying to remember what we did previously. Was it Svg server side, node Svg? Okay, let's see. Is this just called Svg? Pug, Svg doc, realize an object area with pug, require pug. What's pug? It sounds old-fashioned. 2 years ago, pug.js.org. What is this? Is this a big honky thing, or JavaScript takes the data object called locus as an argument called result, and you will return a string HTML render with your data. Is that an HTML renderer? Okay. Is that really what I want? Pug. Svg React. Doesn't sound. Use some errors when operating D3. Does this one have another approach? JS DOM. Does JS DOM support Svg? JS DOM Svg. I am getting hot. Aw, thank you. Now I want to check out his stream. Can I do this without screwing up mine? Man. I wish I had more time to watch everybody else's streams. Can I? I think his live stream. Yeah, Zeta Math. That's puzzle. I was on Zeta Math. All right. Number 85.
Revision control.
Is that gonna echo? Don't know. Is he saying something?
What a setter's collection of work looks like. It's like a bunch of random screenshots and F puzzles.
Can I have this in without it streaming through to my stream? I don't think I can.
Will be scrambling to try and figure out how all of these things work.
So
some way to save it, preferably save it to a disk as well as to a cloud, but you know, that might be daydreaming, but at least like reasonably save and load.
All right, I cannot listen to this at the same time. I wish there was subtitles on the live stream. That would be great. Maraboshi, how are you doing? I cannot imagine it. Allowing Svg. So, yeah, there's an Svg Js. There's JS DOM JS, but I'm not sure how reliable those are. Last I looked into this stuff, it was horrible, but this was years ago, so it might be better now. JS DOM is pure architecture implementation of many web standards, including Is it realistic to do? Not support for sure. I found the solution at svg.js. Do this machine. Is there a way to make svg.js to work with JS DOM? All right, God, I remember I looked into this ages ago. I'm doing. I think it could always be better. The question is, could it be worse? And that is probably also a yes, usually. The state of server-side SVG is not better than this thread from 8 years ago. Really? Ah! Is there nothing more recent than 2016? Really? Server-side SVG generate. Is that the one with the reference to Pug? Yeah. Draw SVG Node.js 2021 December. Ooh, how recent. They're using JSDOM. So I'm suspecting JSDOM works nowadays. So let's have a look if we can install that here. Trying to remember how I'm set up here. Install. Let's install JSDOM. JSDOM SVG. Come on, come on. 2014. Not a function. Keep DOM event handlers when writing SVG to file. After SVG. Move it to the server. 2014. No, no, not 2014. Please. Jesus, Google. You guys remember when you could type things into Google and just got results? I remember those days. I'm that old. This is going to be an interesting episode where I'm just going to be staring at Google results for a while. Did we install it? npm install. Just save JSDOM. But did you install JSDOM? It doesn't want to tell me. Let's see. Package. Ah, there it is. All right. I guess we'll just try it. We'll just try it. Just gonna do thumb gen. Did I just create this folder? Literally just now. Oh, I generated it here. Boom. So. How many thumbgen.js files have I created now in the last 5 minutes? This seems like a bad idea. All right. JS DOM. DOM. Yada yada. Yada 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 yada. SVG canvas. No. SVG JSON. Alright. JS DOM. Let's just search JS DOM directly. Here we go. So this I remember, and I'm trying to remember what I used it for. It was for one of my projects or something else. It might have been for Xenocide Academy. All right, so if I do this. All right, and then I'll do some. Again, I probably need to increase this stuff, right? In fact, you probably don't even see that when it's at the bottom. So. Console log, DOM window, document, query selector. Okay. Now, customizing JSON, SVG. No. Now we just saw somewhere how SVG was being generated. Not support SVG. JSON DOM. So that has a lot of stuff, which we probably don't really want. So the question is, can I create a SVG object with, you know, something like this? SVG. Do I still need to do it this way? I hope not. I mean, this was... this is fixed by 2011. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, man, this is gonna be... implemented entirely according to spec. Okay, so... let SVG implementation. Do we have any kind of example code? Clutch form tests. Is there such a thing as a documentation for JS DOM? Because I mean, on the surface, it's web standards, but it obviously has an API, and it's not necessarily obvious how this stuff works. For example, can I create a JSON object in isolation without having a document to attach it to? Can I have something more modern? Year. Is that a filter in Google? Google filter by year. Before. After. 01-01. There we go. And, you know, 2021 is probably fine as well. Not a lot of results here, huh? Oh dear. What if... Okay, well, this is our example, right? What if we just start with the HTML and work our way backwards, right? So our SVG is basically this. And, not this. Where's something? Let's close these for a sec. Yeah, we don't want to do anything here. If we do this and output DOM, what is DOM? Okay, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but it should have an auto-HTML property, right? God, it's slow as well. So slow. It's almost like we'd have to have a process running that we talk to. And it might potentially just be the browser anyways, to be honest. So, if we do toString like that, JSDOM, DOM to HTML. Is there a way of just getting HTML from the generated DOM to HTML? Nope. Find HTML. DOM.window.document, DOM.window.document.outer HTML. This maybe? This is so slow. So we get nothing here, huh? Do we need to create this thing first in this way? Is that the only thing it'll let us do? We need the doc type and then only then can we put stuff in it? Interesting. Okay, I might be completely window.document.outer inner document.body.outer. Okay. Body.outer gentleman. I don't know. Shows there what I know. Okay, all right. Now we do this again. What do we get? Okay. All right. Okay. So if we go a little deeper, a little more, you know, proper. Like that. And now. Okay. So then the question becomes, can we pull in big chunks of code and make them dance? I'm not sure about that. I'm really not sure about that. I think we're gonna have to take these guys and put them in separate files. Otherwise, we're going to get screwed otherwise. So this is our renderer. I'm going to save this as, and we're going to have to do some module stuff, import, exporting, yada, yada, yada. Source, thumbgen, svg renderer.js. And where was I working earlier? Here. I can look at what I did there. No, not there. There. So, Svg renderer. We're just going to do that. This and this. And then here we can do Svg renderer. We'll go old-fashioned on this one. I really don't need the stress now of trying to go modules as well. Svg renderer. And I'm really concerned about the performance, even just like me sitting here waiting for this. Like how much? I mean, 1.5 seconds. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's not like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or anything like that. All right. Svg renderer. So we a second ago we ran this code. Thumbgen. This code. So, and what does it expect? That in here, does that. And let's see if we can make this sensible. Get element. So get element, we're passing in an element. And ops.svg get element. Default selector, string object. So I think we can just run regular selector stuff in JS DOM. Don't need that. So we should be able to do something like this. Query selector. And then we'll just do this. Okay. So then we should be able to do this. Let svg equals that. And output that. And see what we get. We're starting right from the bottom, right from the start. Okay. Now, we need a few items in this SVG, and I'm just gonna generate them here quickly. I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I'll just do that. Let layers. SVG layers. Boom. And then we're just going to do SVG layers dot for each name. And I guess we'll just do dom.window.create element or dom.document. Something like this, I guess. And it'll be something like window.body.create element. And maybe this exists on Windows as well. it doesn't. Tag name. Okay. In the document create element, tag name would be a G, I guess. G. Element.id equals name. And I'll do this up here. Svg Element.append child. Yada yada yada. I guess there's not much else to do there. Okay. If we do this at the bottom, it might show us the layers we've just added. Yep. And if we use our renderer to render something, what does it look like? If we do something like... because I'm concerned that it has a whole bunch of weird tie-ins into the global app and puzzle and stuff regarding puzzle sizes and things like that. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe it needs access to third-party function or external functions to do certain processing. So I just want to test all that out because this code is not encapsulated at all. So what I'm doing here is really quite extreme. So, for example, something like that, right? We just throw something in there. So if I do this, and one sec. So I'm running this here. Ah, and then there's the text in the next line. Okay, that's what I was missing. I'm like, this is not gonna render anything. Test. If I do that, document is not defined. Let part. Okay, so we need to generate our own environment here. So that kind of means, first of all, we're gonna create a closure right here. And then we're going to generate a document thing that the SVG renderer can talk to. Once document equals DOM.window DOM.window document. And I'm actually going to do that right up here. Boom. Then I'm actually going to use that in these calls as well. If I do this, and if I rename this to ID, I can do this, and I can get rid of all that. There you go. Document is not defined. Document is not defined. Ah, okay, so obviously we need to pass things in here. All right, so yeah, I cannot expect this code as it is to run immediately. Ah, wait, can I do this equals global document dot equals? Can I do this? Can I generate a global variable that is valid inside this external module? Yes, I can. All right, get bounding box is not a function. So now that's the problem. JS DOM may or may not support a lot of these things, but maybe I can generate them myself. This is 2014. We'd like to support, however, we don't support any SVG specific DOM stuff. Ah, shoot. Get bounding box. Okay. This all sounds so familiar. I'm sure I've read all of these prior. So, well, let's follow this stuff and see if we can, get there eventually. Oh dear, no. Convert this to tabs, convert this to 2. Take it back, put it in here. Now, what does this do? Get bounding box annotation. Get bounding box annotation. If annotation.get. The frick? How is this supposed to work? Get bounding box. Or you can implement a polyfill for get bounding box. What is an annotation? If annotation dot get bounding box. Not entirely certain what this is gonna be doing. So the question is, can I monkey patch? Oh geez, I hate that. Does that actually still run? No, it doesn't. Damn it. Nope. What I'm trying to do is to see if I can actually create a real monkey, because it's not a monkey patch, it's just a function that doesn't work. A monkey patch is something that I can, or a polyfill, more accurately, something that I can run and that actually polyfills stuff. Annotation. Who uses the word annotation? What the frick? How is this an annotation? I'm guessing they mean element, and they use the word annotation for God knows what reason. Jeez. All right, sorry. Stuff like that just... Man, lazy programmers. So the question is... My God, I can't even freaking comment this out. I have to modify it and then remember to unmodify it later. So the question is, can I get access to these things to polyfill them, right? And what is trying to call get bounding box? It's find get bb element. So this is any kind of element. Do I even have access to these in? Because this is not a polyfill, right? Svg element. So yeah, so the question is, do I have access to this stuff like Svg element? Like if I do this, for example. So this doesn't actually give me a lot. And if I do this on JS DOM, no. Or output of that polyfill, yeah, okay. I should really read that. So I guess we're going to have to work on that svg.js integration. Use the editor. Minimal production create pure stem and with Svg Js. So people have gotten it to work, but also people have not gotten it to work. So let's have a look at these things. This is a JS DOM pull request. Circle. You throw. Note if this PR resolves an issue, I'm having an one, but I'm seeing the following behavior. (2017). Okay, so 11.4. What if I search issues for get BB box? Get BB box. SVG addition plus problem easily add SVG. Which is done with Svg Js. Okay, so that's the one I saw on this other website. For someone who's looking to mock it, we have a gist that worked for me. Can give you an idea how to mock it for your use case. I mean, if it's a mock-up, it should just work, right? Shouldn't be any use cases. So where's this gist? Is this the gist? Mock missing SVG functions in JM's DOM for gist. Define property prototype for each. So this does not work. This looks like it's implementing these specific things. Oh, wait, mock. Okay, so this doesn't actually run. Okay, so that's not it. SVG improvement. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how far along did I go? Because I've looked into this in the past, and the question is, I don't remember if I've gotten it to work. I know I've gotten Canvas to work. I'm not entirely certain about SVG. Because then it might be more fruitful if I go back to look for that code. Direct support requires web and just time for us to be fixed to work with that. But this is all old, like ancient, so you'd hope that maybe it's going to work already. Progress, make campaign, components, same as here. I was looking for direct read-only support and just don't find this. Okay, so the question is, I mean, I obviously probably downloaded a more recent version. So get bounding box still doesn't exist, right? All right, so earlier we looked at strings into objects or JSON. No, that's not what we need. We need the other way around. Node.js and TypeScript. Pug is still an option. A totally different syntax. So problem is, yeah, none of the existing code will work. So it could be extremely painful. We did come across something of how to make SVG canvas. No, that's also not what we need. How to get JS DOM to work with svg.js. Snap.svg. I'm not sure. GL's get bounding box works. Method works in browser, but not in testing. So these are all just different references. Yeah, that's actually not a good sign. Snap.js SVG. What is Snap SVG? What is Snap SVG? That's a good question. Maybe we should look into that before we look into issues. JavaScript SVG live for the modern web. Learn more at snapsvg.io. That looks like it's a browser side thing. So this is really just an API replacement. Yeah, don't need that. Okay, don't want that. I'm perfectly fine with the DOM API. Svg.js. Let's just go to the root of this project then. Lightweight library for manipulating Svg without any dependencies, just a license on yada yada yada. Okay. If I search for JS DOM here, nothing. Maybe they're all closed? Can I find the global Svg and test environment? Separate out DOM dependent code from Svg. Support Node.js. Work with JS DOM. Okay, so we have two leads. Yes, SVG, and not just SVG, like ideally enough DOM support that I can run my existing code without having to rebuild the entire rendering engine. And I know JS DOM doesn't out of the box support SVG, but it supports a lot of it, so maybe I can get it the rest of the way there. I'm just a bit disheartened that a lot of these results are like 6-7 years old, which is a bad sign. If it works, please test this for me. Why would you ask somebody else to test this for? Short lasting motivation about SVG is over. Okay. I'm not sure what svg.js does internally. And it probably doesn't support things like query selector and all this sort of stuff. Everybody's wondering, SVGX. Oh. The problem is, the pure SVG libraries are not going to support the rest of the stuff. Like, I can make a raw render of, just a drawing library like that, but not necessarily something with a full DOM interface, you know what I mean? I don't need a new thing to generate SVG. I need something that has the same API as what I have right now. Because, for example, let's say, even if it accepts the SVG text, I'm not generating SVG text, I'm generating DOM instructions, right? What if I look at a full browser emulator? What's it called? Node browser. There's something called, I don't know what it's called. Puppeteer? Headless Chrome. Problem is, I worry that it's too expensive to run on a server, because like if it needs a gig of memory just to run the browser engine, that would not be good. WebDriver by Node.js Chrome's API supports Chrome and Phantom.js, that's the one. So it does run a browser, but if I'm smart about it and have the browser running all the time, and then I just hook into it rather than instantiating the browser with every request, you know what I mean? Yes, yada yada, so supported, suspended until further notice. That is not a good sign. Oh dear. Due to the lack of active contribution, I'm going to archive the project. Some point in the future, pick again. Archive with that. Your plans for okay, so this is not something I want to build my stuff on, to be honest. Only commits related to abandoned planned releases. This is 2018. Okay, that's not good. Yeah. All right, let's look at svg.js itself. Yeah, it looks like it's implementing its own API, so that's really not what I want. All right. we were looking at how to extend this stuff, right? So if I do this, what do I get? Like these are weird, right? Like, does this even exist? Do they exist after JSDOM has been executed? Here? Also, why does it take that long to just start up? Like, JSDOM must be a huge library to have that effect. Global. Global has a reference to global. Oh, great. So I don't think I can access these. JSDOM extend prototypes. How do I access? How can I access the elements? Installed jsdom.installed interfaces. Okay, that's a good start. Maybe I can do this before instantiating. Maybe not. I was pretty sure that previously JSDOM did have keys on it. Installed interfaces. Nope. Maybe this is completely ancient and out of date. Window. Okay. So maybe global document. Const document, global document. Window equals global. Window dom.window. Okay. And if I do this, what do I get? Sorry, this is a bit of a trial and error, but sadly, sometimes JavaScript is such a mess that that's how these things are. I've done this so many times. I did not hang the clothes like I was supposed to. Damn. All right. Yeah. So if we look at something like Svg Element, and its prototype, then we might be able to, you know, so if we now run this, we're gonna get our error at get bb box. And if we do something like .get bbox equals function bbox args, boom, and we can find out when and how it gets called. So text element is not a function. That implies to me that text element is not an Svg element. So let's have a look at this specific place, line 320, text element. So what kind of thing is text element? Let's find out. It's an Svg element, not an Svg. What the hell is an Svg element? I don't know. But we probably also want to look at these guys. The hell is an Svg element? I don't know where that came from. Ooh. Okay. So it executes get bounding box But of course, it doesn't actually do the thing. But it does a thing. It does something, right? So, we might have to implement our own get bounding box. And I have a strange feeling that we've done something like that already. If type of element equals get bounding box. Expand by. Wait. Expand by. Try catch. Ignore invisible items on Firefox 52. Result. Get bounding box. Res. Okay. So we haven't implemented our own get bounding box, but we have implemented get content bounds. Now get bounding box is not obvious, I think, how to implement that. How about get bbox polyfill in JSDOM. Come on, somebody must have done it. I don't have to do everything myself, please. Don't make me do everything myself. JavaScript, bounding box, get bounding box, get bounding client rect. There's no polyfill here. I don't see a polyfill here. These are not polyfills. That's not a polyfill. Get bounding box. So this is just... yeah, it's not going to return anything useful. I guess if I proceed from here, I can always say I just have to implement this, right? So const polyfill get bb box equals window boom. And it'll be just this, right? Then I can just do this. And I can run this code. Okay. So I can create a text box, for example. Now, the coordinates are probably not going to be accurate, but it's a start. So maybe from here, I can take it to whatever the next step would be. These anymore? In fact, how about we pull this out and do this later? So we can establish the DOM first and then do everything else afterwards, right? So we're gonna just generate an empty DOM. And then we're gonna add all the other stuff that we want to do. I think we can get rid of this, right? This doesn't... this might actually be useful. Why can't I? Alright, won't let me minimize that. Okay. And now we want to basically generate a new DOM object, similar to this thing here. And I'm getting those weird vision problems again that I sometimes get, and it's very disturbing, I'll be honest. So we'll do window.body. Yeah, I'm starting to see what's in front of me. This is so strange. I'm kind of working blindly here. We'll create an element. Alright, if this gets worse, I'm gonna have to stop. This is not good. I'm kind of typing blindly here. All right, and then we're just gonna put all these properties in there. And we probably want to get rid of anything that we can avoid having in here. I don't actually know if these are just properties or I have to add them as attributes afterwards. So let's try this. Const svg element equals this. Svg element dot set attribute id. This. I don't know if we actually need those. But I'll put them in there just in case. You know what? Can I just... Okay, it's getting worse. I can't frickin' see. Well, you're gonna see a blind man programming here. I have no idea what causes this. It's quite disturbing. Like, if I look from the corner of my eyes, can I see better? All right, that's the attributes. Now if I do object.keys attributes, each key, and then I'll do set attribute key. I'm gonna skip certain letters because I'm gonna typing blindly and all that. Okay. Nope. Okay, no, I can get rid of that. We have the Svg element already, so we don't need to do that. And we can probably get rid of that and just do this and this. I need a dot there. Nope. I didn't even see. Well, I gotta sit. I'm not seeing anything. Is this good? Nope. And I think we need to append that. Yeah. So document.body.append child. I think. And there it is. All right. So that generates that, and we probably want to wrap that up into a function. Let's create Svg root. Don't think we need access to window here. Just do this and return that. Okay. I'm not sure how many of these I can take outside of here because they might have need access to certain global stuff. Well, let's see how far we can get. Document, not window. And that still works. So the question is, yeah, okay, so now this is just the SVG renderer, so that's really low level. What we really need is a higher level, right? We need, let me just collapse this. We need basically the convert function. Problem with the convert function, and I'm gonna find that while blind, is I don't know how many other dependencies that one has. So I'm just gonna stick it in here and start, you know, ripping it up. So this probably has a whole bunch of stuff like external references to this and application. We need test data for the puzzle. If I do this, right, what happens? God knows. Rules parser is not defined. All right, rules parser. Now, rules parser is the one thing I can probably pull in relatively easy. So if we pull that from here, did we severify that? Yes. So we can bring that over to the. Oh, I can't see. Is that it? I think that's right. Then we can pull in rules parser. Yep. It seems weird. It's kind of sad that, but you know, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's one of those things. 292 in puzzle convert puzzle. Okay, so. Oh. Report and rethrow not defined. My little rethrow. Report and rethrow. I think that's from utilities. Oh, and it's so hard to do this without being able to see. Okay, blind UT should get us to utilities. No? No, if I click here, type U, it doesn't go to U. No, it's just putting U's into all these files. Great, that's not helpful. No, I don't want to save random files that it's opening one by one and putting U's in. Thank you very much. All right, utilities. If I squint and focus, maybe I can find it. All right, report and rethrow. There we go. Boom. Except that's not gonna be available there. Show YouTube button is not a function. Okay, yeah, fair enough. There's probably gonna be so much like that. Yeah, like, probably don't need that. Anything with this, to be honest. Yeah, all of this stuff is experimental mode. Let's just get rid of that all for now. To puzzle. Puzzle features is not defined. Yeah, puzzle features we'll need. So this could also kind of help me to start bringing these into separate files. SudokuPad app src subgen puzzle features.js. And then we'll do the same thing we did with SVG render here. You're heading out again? Sorry? Ah, okay. So you've been to your grandma already, right?
Yeah.
All right. Shall, like, I can't stream much longer. My vision is getting all messed up again. Shall I be ready then when you come back and we'll go then for takeaway with the scooter, or are you going now? All right. Otherwise, call me. I can always come. Ah, but you'll be with the car then, right? Okay. Well, let me know. Otherwise, I'll go with the scooter and I'll pick you up or whatever. Like, if you want to drive and I come downstairs and we just jump on the scooter and go, you know? All right. Hey, Daniel. How are you? I'm afraid my work right now is not super efficient because I have a weird vision problem where I can't see properly, and that's not great. So I'm kind of guessing where things are, and I'm kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's a weird, it's kind of like, you know, like the dead spot you have where your optic nerve goes through your eye. It feels like that's just bigger or moving around or like covering half my eye or something like that. It's very strange. So it's like, if I move and look in different areas, I can suddenly see, but then right in front of me, I can't see. It's very bad. Enjoy your holiday, buddy. Holidays are nice. Puzzle features is not defined. Yeah, well, I just defined it there. I just didn't, you know, doesn't include it yet. Jeez, making me do everything. Should get Copilot. Puzzle is not defined. Well, yeah. Puzzle.convert puzzle. Puzzle.convert puzzle. 254 puzzle features. Yeah, so that's the problem, right? We're going down a rabbit hole of everything being dependent on everything else. Puzzle dot. Yeah, so we have this. Let's go a little bit further and see how far we can go. But that's kind of the reason why I hadn't done it previously. Yeah. But, you know, it might be a good excuse to refactor some of these things. Once puzzle equals something like that. Something like that. And we could just, you know, that's probably something that should be in a utility function, shouldn't be in puzzles, because that has no, it has no dependency on the puzzle stuff. Framework is not defined. Well, I hope I won't need that in the grand scheme of things. Thumbgen 231, 285. Loader. Wait, what? Convert puzzle. Convert puzzle 231. Find. Frame. Work. Arrows above lines. Okay, so we're looking at settings. So settings, I guess we can kind of just, yeah. Settings should probably be its own independent API. Expected else. If not settings. Okay, so we want to. Sorry, it's so hard to do things when you can't see. This is going to be a total mess. Well, let's just push a little bit. Encode, refactoring, coherency, load coupling sounds useful, yes. Yeah, I mean, there's an alternative. I can just plug in something like Phantom JS, or even apparently Phantom JS was discontinued several years ago. So, but maybe there's something similar. The thing is, running a browser on the server sounds like a resource hog. You know, that's going to take up probably as much, or if not more, resources than all the other servers put together. You know, is experimental mode. Yeah, is experimental mode. So can we just, yeah, this we can just remove. This express puzzle meta. So we're just gonna pull these out independent as a separate function. Extract puzzle. Because these should be just, you know, there's no reason for them to live on this. I don't think they're referencing anything else. So these can just be independent functions here. Yeah, you see, I can't see anything in the upper left corner right now, for example. This is freaking horrific. All right, so extract puzzle meta. Whoop. Don't know what I'm clicking on. This is the weirdest thing I've ever done. Coding while blind. Show meta info UI. We don't need that. Is it? Yeah. We can delete that. In its Oracle, we don't need that either. Yeah, that's the thing. There, little things have snuck in there because it was not well organized and designed in the first place. Okay. This is actually pretty good. I didn't expect we would get the whole thing to run without, like, most of the stuff that I had to remove are not relevant to the puzzle process. I want to run this with some test data. So let's get a simple puzzle in here somewhere. Let's see what we got. No, that's too small. Something bigger. Something very simple. Tell you what, let me use my new tool to generate, or just use this SV something, whatever. Where was it? Here? Did Did I close it? No, it's here. Let's just grab this. And one of these tabs. Nope. So just a simple yeah. I mean, there's also kind of at some point, I might just say, hey, I start from scratch and create a function that you stick in puzzle data and out comes the SVG string. You don't need any DOM, you don't need any of that stuff, right? It's just I have to rebuild a lot of the code. I don't know. We'll see. So I need the puzzle of the CTC puzzle version of this. So framework.app.current puzzle. Is this the puzzle data that goes into the convert function? I'm not sure. Let's check. I forget. I do this and do this. We have this here. Cells ID regions. This one is not that. Sorry, I'm really starting to see here. All right, let me just grab this raw data. Nope. That I can use it. I think this is it. Oh, no. And let CTC puzzle equals JSON parse this. Boom. And then I pass that in here and see what it does. No, wrong script. Oh. Yeah, you see, I can see what's in front of me. I need to stop soon. This is ridiculous. Reading puzzle ID. Well, it does have an ID. It doesn't have a puzzle ID. Why is it expecting a puzzle ID? Reading properties of undefined puzzle ID. 126. Puzzle ID equals this dot puzzle ID equals undefined. Yeah, so we don't, any reference to this needs to kind of go. But okay, now we have puzzle data. It's actually doing stuff, so it's going to break in a million places that it didn't break before. Okay, triangular number. I think that's in utilities. Did I don't know. I just closed. I probably still need it. Oops. Yeah. Really, a stream is not the right time for my vision to go bye-bye. Sorry if my formatting is off because I can't see. That's why. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Puzzle this dot puzzle dot cells dot length. So this dot puzzle page unique false if cells dot length equals. Okay, if wait, where are we here? Okay, so this is basically if we're looking at the cage that's the size of all the cells. Now we haven't created the empty puzzle yet here. So I don't know actually what's going on here. So let me think. This kind of puzzle, it's a classic, so it doesn't actually render anything. But there should be grid lines and all that stuff. Oh, okay, I'm an idiot, yeah. So those don't happen in convert puzzle, those happen in load puzzle. So if I want to render something here, I actually don't want to have just a super plain one. I actually want to try maybe the this one. But take this, stick that in there, blow that up, and take this as my test data, and then bring that over here. And now run that. Yeah, to be honest, I need to see a doctor or something. This is pretty scary. And it's happened like 4 or 5 times now over the last year. Problem is, I went to the doctor a few times and they didn't see anything wrong. So thankfully, it like fades after like an hour or half an hour to an hour. Reading render Sudoku X. Assumption. Can read properties that are undefined. Reading 164. 164. Render Sudoku X. Why is that not part of SVG render? Oop, it's right there. Ah, undefined. Wait. Undefined. Ah, SVG render. SVG render is not undefined. SVG render is defined here. Reading render Sudoku X. Can read properties of undefined reading render Sudoku X. 164 G 164 SVG render. Ah, I'm guessing SVG render here is getting loaded from this or something. Yeah. Get rid of that. App is not defined. Jeez. Of course it's not defined. It's kind of the point. Alright, we can probably just skip these. If that's indeed where... Ooh! Okay. Alright, something happened. Something happened. Can I just select this? Something happened. So if I go here, do this, and do something like edit as HTML, select all, delete, insert, and do that, I do get an SVG. I don't have the lines for the grid because that happens elsewhere. And I might not have correct lines for these things because the get bounding box function is not right. Although, which puzzle did we create? This one, right? So it generated the underlays. It did not generate... it did create the strokes. Stroke width path. There's no path data on this thing. All right, so that's interesting. Why would that happen? So it called render Sudoku X. It does a render line here. Line. Render line. Line. Render Sudoku X. Render Sudoku X. Part.feature. So this comes out of puzzle features. Valid points, line.waypoints for each lines. Can I output this data here? Part, handle line feature for each puzzle. So, oh, no. If I do this, what do I get? For each handle region feature. And I do this. Basically, I want to see if I can get the raw data out of here to see if the lines have waypoints. They almost do. They might. They might. If frickin' Node would frickin' render more. Lines, color thickness, waypoints. So it looks like it should have lines here. Okay. Let's go here and see what renderline outputs, or what renderline receives. Target color waypoints undefined. So here it's undefined. That is interesting. And here it's probably also undefined, I imagine. So render Sudoku X ref wait, no. Wait, waypoints. Here waypoints are not undefined. So render line gets assigned opts and waypoints. But then wait a second, what's going on here? Basically what I'm seeing here is it looks like data is coming in, but then data doesn't arrive in this function. So render line waypoints here. So I'm guessing, so opts has a property called waypoints. And then here oh wait, sorry, this info is too early. Okay, this info is executed before these variables are extracted. So that's gonna give me the wrong stuff. Okay. All right, no, here it is. Render line. Okay, here we go. So the line, select, stroke none. Should be a path in here somewhere. All right, let me get rid of some of this doubling up. Okay. So render line. Here we're setting the attributes up, and we're going all the way to render part. And then in render part, eventually, these are our attributes, right? Then eventually, this is our part. Okay. And if I do this, does that give us the output? HTML unknown element. Maybe that's the problem. HTML unknown element. Create element NS. HTML unknown element. So set attribute D, I guess, fails. I think we're back to JSDOM and SVG. SVG, HTML. I have in my finger here a little wire mesh that probably should be inside my headphones. All right. Okay, so we're back to broken SVG support. This is not good. I'm starting to wonder that this code is not actually complex enough that maybe rewriting the code is the right thing to do. I was hoping to avoid that. So there's two parts to it. There's the two functions in like the higher level function, the convert puzzle and the what did I call it? The load puzzle. These two functions, and I mean, it does a bunch of stuff, feature detection, so on, but I don't think that's necessarily DOM, because that operates on the data before it becomes SVG DOM data. So I think that all should work. And then we have the API with the SVG render. I mean, we could dual mode the SVG, like we could build our own sort of rendering engine, take the SVG render and, because ultimately all of the SVG render calls end up in here, render part, and just assigns these attributes, right? And ultimately all this does is more or less just generate a piece of HTML string. And doing that ourselves wouldn't necessarily be the hardest thing to do. I mean, there could be a million edge cases and all sorts of weird issues. But maybe that's the way to go. Because it's already doing all the hard work of figuring out the numbers and all that stuff. I mean, there are some helper functions, such as the get bounding box, that we might have to clean up. And it needs that specifically to get all the framing of the locating of all the elements within the SVG right. Yeah, I know. I've probably looked into this many times over the last 10 years. It's just, I don't mind doing work if the work feeds back into existing code and improves that as well. I don't want to do a lot of work just for this one thing. Then I'd rather go the browser route, right? I'd rather say, okay, we'll actually use the user's browser to generate the SVG, and then we'll send it to the server and cache it there. So basically one of the routes I can do is I can basically request the image from the server. The server can say, don't have it. Then some code on the client generates it, uploads it to the server, and then the server goes, here it is, you know. And generally that's horrible, but in our specific niche use case, that might really work, because who generates those thumbnails, right? The first person to generate them is the person setting the puzzle and testing the puzzle. So by the time the puzzle is out in the wild, that image is already uploaded. And it can kind of happen behind the scene without the user even, you know. I mean, similarly, I could literally have a separate small AWS instance running with a browser running, with an API running to it, you know, and then just have the server connect to it, kind of thing, and make requests and whatnot. I don't know, something like that. Except it's hard. It's relatively tricky to connect to a browser, actually, but it's not impossible. Well, I can probably... I see what you're saying, that people could hijack the API. I see. Yeah, that somebody could basically... I mean... Yeah, the thing with Puppeteer is pretty hefty, but I could look into it. I mean, probably what would have to happen is that this thumbnail API only works for logged in users, right? So you would have to have some sort of API key and you connect through it. And then the cached images are available to anybody, which means if I ever find bad data in there, that person gets their access revoked, basically, right? So only trusted parties can generate the thumbnails, but anybody else can retrieve them. And in our use case, that would work, right? Because we don't need a lot of images. We really just need one image per puzzle out there, you know. And like I said, that's 8,000 puzzles on Logic Masters Germany. That's 3,000 to 4,000 on CTC. You know, call it 15,000. Double it just for other places. That's 30,000. And then double it again for temporary images generated on puzzles that are deleted or not used, etc., right? That's 60,000 images. And if they're relatively compact SVG images, you know, let's do the math, right? Let's say 60,000. Currently, my SVGs are like 30K because they have a bunch of repetitive CSS in them, but I can probably get them down to, I don't know, 10K or even less, right? So if we do 60,000 times 10,000, and then divide that by 1,024 twice, so that'd be 570 megabytes, right? And that would cover up, you know, that's one corner of the server, and it just has those 500 megabytes of images in there. And maybe even stick it behind a cloud CDN or something, right? Or find like an image host or something. Although I think my server could host that stuff, you know. I mean, I'd have an incentive to optimize. Well, it's not, my server has 30 gigabytes of local SSD storage, right? So 500, 600 megabytes of that is no big deal, And like I said, we've already doubled and tripled and added extra stuff, I mean, I'd like to have two versions. I'd like to have an SVG and the PNG version, and of the PNG, ideally two versions, like a high res, like 512 by 512, and a really low res, 128 by 128 compressed thumbnail version, that's small and compact, using SVGO or something like that. But probably, I mean, if the SVG can be small enough, then you never even need a PNG, or you can generate the PNG client side very easily. If the PNG is more useful for the UI, then it might make sense to just load the SVG from the server and then PNG-ify it. So maybe what I'll do, I'll stop streaming now, but what I'll do in the next stream is I'll go back to my client-side thumbnail setup. Where is it? Where is my client-side thumbnail? I'm gonna close this. This is just confusing me. Oh, no. Instant cages. I don't think. No. Okay. Sorry, Zetamoth. I'm gonna close your stream for a sec. Where was it? It was 1990, right? Yeah. So right now the SVG is generated here. So if I look at this one, so that's 38K, right? Open in new tab. So that's 38K, but it's very, very badly done. I'm basically copying the entire CSS of the entire application into it, just because I didn't want to separate out which CSS is actually required for the thing, right? Yeah, the rendering is not really the problem, right? The problem is the DOM. I need to build them. If I save this, just gonna download SVG, and then I'll do Svg Optimizer. And by Svg Optimizer, I actually mean this one. Because I just want to see what it looks like if I remove all the bad CSS that we don't really need. You see, that immediately comes down to 14.7K. And to be honest, it probably could come down much further as well. Because, I just know what I don't need in there. And of course, this is full quality, right? With text and everything. I don't know if sorting attributes is gonna... I don't know. Prefer few books to with high, remove style elements. Ooh. Yeah, then the relative thicknesses go a bit wonkers. Script element. There's no script element. Shouldn't be any script element. Yeah. So you see this gzips down to 1.61K. Obviously not this one. But let's have a quick look at the SVG actually. We've probably pretty printed it. Yeah, it's not too bad. There's tons of repetition. Like this stuff should be in a style and so on. This colors how many times in here and all that stuff. This stuff font size 13. Like this string alone, if we put that into a CSS style sheet, I'm wondering even if I could convert. Yeah, because right now, like this has dependency on fonts. If I could find a renderer that actually converts the text to curves in the SVG, that would be really helpful. SVG convert text to path. That could actually be useful. So stuff like this would actually be really useful. Yeah, these projects kind of going. It's so strange because you'd think stuff like a PNG encoder, SVG rendering, all this stuff, super standards driven, there should be well supported high level libraries available that just work really well, and and yet there's all these abandoned big projects that a lot of other things depend on, like JS DOM, lots of things depend on it, and it's so crufty. You'd think that, Node.js has an interest in a high quality server-side DOM implementation. Yeah, but I'd like to actually have like a raw, pure, self-contained image. I mean, that's part of why I wanted to double render it into a PNG as well. Because with a PNG, then you have a guaranteed visual representation. But if you could avoid that, the SVG probably would still be smaller and still have full resolution. With the PNG, then suddenly you have to decide what kind of resolution you want and quality you want and so on. But something like this, it probably can do it for me. So this should process the SVG and turn the text into paths. Convert SVG nodes to vector font-free elements. Yeah. So it's all doable, I mean, the nice thing is this is whoops. This is full vector, so you can zoom in as far as you want, and you have the full quality. This is that one, right? And if I do SVG to PNG, I'll just do this quickly. Oop. I'll get that one. It zipped it. Great. That's not useful. Oh. Okay. I had one of those already. Oh, seriously. Ah, this one? Download one? Nope. Can I just look at it? Thank you. Jeez. Yeah, this is horrific. So yeah, something like this. And it's actually quite large. It's half the size of the SVG. So I'd have to obviously manipulate the relative sizes of the SVG relative to the PNG and stuff. But this is horrible. It's not even thumbnail quality, to be honest. Yeah. All right. Well, there's no need why it should be. DOM is just a way of interacting. It's a document object model. It has nothing to do with a browser. I don't know why it would be tied to. JS DOM is perfectly fine, right? It's just an incomplete implementation. Anyway, we made some progress. We tried a few things. I'll probably try the browser route again. The Phantom.js / what did we say? What is it called? The headless browser library. Puppeteer, right? I think Puppeteer is even worse than Phantom.js because, or is it similar? Puppeteer is a node library which is a high-level API to control Chrome, because it's literally running an instance of Chromium, I'm guessing. But then Phantom.js kind of does that as well. If I can have an instance of Puppeteer running that I talk to from my, that I don't have to shut down and start up all the time, that would be great. Then it would be quite viable potentially. So Puppeteer is a recent version of Chromium that is guaranteed to work with the API customer purely for connection Puppeteer core for operation. If Puppeteer just fine, so that's like, I'd like to know, can we run Puppeteer in the background, keep it running, and then just talk to it and stuff? Instance of browser, open pages, and manipulate them with Puppeteer's API. As example.png. So I'd have a process running on the server with Puppeteer in it, and then I just say, hey, loaded this SVG in, That might work. It might work. Might not be a big deal. I've upgraded the server. It's got a bit of memory spare. Yeah. I think I'll give Puppeteer a try on the next one, in the next stream this week. And we'll see what I can do. Maybe by then I can see again. I have a suspicion that this vision problem is basically a migraine, but without the headache, you know? Like, it seems very much like a migraine symptom. And a couple other things I have as well. Thankfully without the, you know, skull-crushing headaches. Yeah. So there's still a couple of other, you know, things to deal with as well, because like I need to optimize the SVG, I need to get rid of the app and puzzle dependencies. So this is some other stuff I can do. Like I can pull out little functions that are currently tied to these, like parse rcval and like little parser helpers, get min-max fc from region. Pull all these out, put them into utilities, kind of organize things a little bit. Things like the puzzle features tool should not have any dependencies on anything else. It should just pure data in, data out. I think, yeah, these should just be helper functions that we can pull out. So that these are things that I can do. Pulling this into a separate file. These are all things I can do that benefit the core engine, make it more stable, and potentially makes it easier, you know, to update the mobile apps. So this is exactly the sort of work I want to do. And I'd like to do that in stages. So I'd rather improve the core engine and clean up the code ahead of actually, you know, I don't want to just build the service and then I have to retrofit those changes, but I'd go the other way around. I'd first build those changes into the core engine. And then once it's all nice and ready, then building the thumbnail system should be much easier, you know. I mean, I had to bend over backwards to get it working in the mobile app anyways, so cleaning that up would be great. So yeah. Actually, we can actually look at these dependencies here quickly. So let's do something like dependencies. Dependencies need to be independent from puzzle and app. We have SVG render, we have rules parser, I think, which has one little thing, and we have puzzle features. Yeah. All right. Sorry that I didn't have any juicy new features that people could immediately use today. There is a feature that I might actually do in the next stream, just as a sort of like, hey, sorry about the last stream kind of thing, which is the auto removal of pencil marks. So if I have something like this, and then I have something like this, and I put a 2 here or 2 here, that it clears these out. And I think I could just use this and basically literally just remove all the reds. I think that kind of would do the trick, you know. And I probably want to update I want to release the current test version pretty soon. Okay, this one we can discard. Because I think I don't remember exactly what I added, but nothing major. And I think it's been working pretty well. It's been in testing for a while. So I want to keep that smooth and up and running. So let's have a quick look at... Let's do a quick game of my new little cheeky tool that I made to generate puzzle with somebody else's code, basically, by reverse engineering their API. They made it so easy. So it does Windokus and Sudoku X's. Ah. Come on. Why is this not running? I still don't know why this is taking so long sometimes. Alright, let's solve this one, and then we'll call it a day. So, we got our 2s here. Let's make sure we're using all the new features. Yeah. 1s, 3s, 2s. Actually, where do the 2s go? There, that's gotta be a 2. There's a 2 in this line. 2 in here. 2s. No 2 here. Yeah, the diagonals should Should generate cages, actually. Oops, where was it? The diagonals should generate cages. It might only be on beta so far. Well, it's not necessarily broken. It's just doing it differently than you expect. The replay measures time by the actions. So, for example, if you were sitting at the end, it will just measure the time from the first action to the last action, right? And 1 or 2 minutes difference could very easily happen there. So it's not really the replay that's wrong. It's more like the clock shows something different than what the replay actually represents, right? Yeah, don't block charging bays. It's just not nice. Twos. This looks different than the puzzle I was just solving. Am I sure this is the same puzzle? It is. Strange. Why am I? Ah, yeah, you see? Now it knows that the 2 is seeing this. It doesn't realize that this blocks the 2s out of this box. I think it doesn't do... No, it does see them. Yeah, but it doesn't combine the pencil marks with that stuff yet. I think so. Yeah. 4, 5, 6. There we go. That's a 6. 6 here. 6 one of those 2. 6 on the diagonal. It's a 2 there. And 6 here and here. 7 on the diagonal here. So not on these. It's a 7 here. No 7 here. 7 here. So this can't be a 7. Okay, 7's here. 7 here or here means no 7 here. It means there's a 7 here, which means there's 7 here. And it means no 7 here. So that means there's 7 here or here, right? So that means there's 7 here, no 7 here. So I'm curious that these 2 don't... Yeah. Why don't these 2 make this one red? Shouldn't they? That's weird. Huh. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how those features interact. Okay, there's 7 here or here. That means no 7 here, so there's 7 here or here. Okay, so the 7s I think are fully marked now. There's an 8 here or here, so no 8s here, which means there's an 8 here. Right, no 8 here, no 8 here. There's an 8 here or here, so no 8s in these places. 8's on the diagonal. Oop, don't know. 9 on the diagonal is in these 2. Right, I think we can just mark these kind of places now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 4, 9, 7. Oh, my vision is getting all woozy again. I need a no screen holiday, I think, one day. Too much screen time. 4s. 5, 6, 7, 8. It can't be here or here. 9. Here, so not here. Not here or here. So one of these two is 9, and one of these two is 9. And down here. It's like that. Huh. Here or here. I feel like there's something that should be more filled than it really is. But no. I'm just gonna overmark right now. I'm not patient. I'm really hungry. I don't know why. Probably because I need to eat. Okay. Where are we at? 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7, 9. 7, 8. Ah, up here. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that didn't yield much. Wow. Nothing on 1s. 2s are done. 3s. 3s. So they're all down here. What about this row? I mean this column. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7, 7, 4, 4. No, not useful. 4. 4. 4 is here on the diagonal. Ah. That's useful at least, finally. Finally something useful. On this diagonal, oh, where's here? So it's not here. 4. So 4's gotta be in one of these two and these two. And then here and here, and not here. Okay. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 8. Wow. Okay, that was but nothing. And 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This also did nothing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not the 3. Six, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 3, 8. 9 is here or here. 3, 5, 7. So 4 is almost done. 5s. Maybe we have something here now. 5s are on this diagonal inside this box. So 5 here, here, here. So these two aren't 5s, which gives us a 1 and a 9. All right. All right. Can we do something with that? 1 here, here. No 1 on the diagonal, so there's a 1 up here, not in here. Okay. 1 here or here. And the 9s. This can't be a 9. Why can't this not be a 9? How can this not be a 9? What is eliminating the 9 from here? I don't see it. I marked the 9s myself over here before. That's what's eliminating it from there. So on this diagonal, the 9 needs to be here or here, which means this is a 7. That's a 1. Oop, nope. It's not a 7. That's not a 1. Not a 7. So, it's a 1. Okay, so 1 in here. There's a 1 here. Okay. 1 here or here, so no 1 there. No 1 here. 1 on this diagonal is here or down there. Alright. Okay. 9s. Here or here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 9 there. No 7 here, no 7 there. It's gotta be a 7. Alright. 5. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 8. 3 or 8. This is also 3 or 8, I guess. That's a 7. 3 or 8. And these two are 1 or 7. But no 7 down here. So it's the 1, that's the 7. No 1 here. So I'm guessing 1s need to be here, not here. And here. 4 there. And 9 there. 4 here. And this is a 5. And these two are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. So that's a 3. 8 and 9 and 3. Not a 3. Not an 8. It's an 8. It's an 8. 3. No 3s. 9. No 8. 3. It's a 5. That's a 9. It's 8. 9. Not an 8. 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 down here. And 1, 3, and 5. 1, 5, 3, 8, 5, 5, 8, and 1, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 9. And 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. All right, that's it. That's it. I gotta take a break. Let's see if my eyes recover. I have a feeling this stream has given me more work rather than it has actually accomplished. But well, it's a big thing and it's going to help a lot of people, so it's definitely something worth a little bit of effort here. So well, thank you very much. Thanks to all the helpful people that are supporting me on Patreon over on patreon.com/SvenCodes. It's super helpful, and the more of my income I can raise there, the more I can open source my stuff and build services for everybody to use and all that sort of thing. And ideally, I would do that with all my things. So that's the goal. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you very much for hanging out. And I hope I see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a good day.